like to invite Christina to come up. And you are a partner at a law firm. Here's a microphone for you.
Thank you.
And it's very interesting what I had found out about some of the things that you have accomplished in terms of in the blockchain space. I haven't met very many lawyers. David from Reflective Venture Partners, he's one that we interviewed earlier today on the pre-event. But I'd love for you to share your vision from being in the law space of like, what do you think is going to happen with the blockchain industry in the next decade?
So I think two virtues of blockchain in this entire space are privacy and transparency. And I think they're things that attract myself, the team I work with at my law firm, and many of us in this room and online. But part of that is trust. And I think what's happened over the last year and a half is that institutions that impact everything we do, whether it's regulators or government or large corporations, don't know if they can trust this space. And that's not the fault of a majority of the actors in this space. There's some very innovative, creative things happening, but there's been a couple bad apples, and they've done things that have stuck out, and they're the ones that have sort of caught press attention and have troubled the average person up to government officials. And so what I want to see is all of us to be agents of trust. And whatever you're doing in the blockchain space, make the average person want to trust what you're doing and adopt your technology. Make a legislator understand what you're doing and build a bridge. And I think that that's what I see, is that if we do those things the next couple of years, blockchain will become ubiquitous. And we will see the vision that many of us are talking about become a reality.
Who's doing that really well? What person or organization do you really honor? Like, wow, they're doing this really, really well.
I don't know if it's a particular organization or institution, but there are some industry groups that have come together to try to communicate to regulators. And I think that's always a dirty word when you're having conversations about new industries. There was a big battle, someone mentioned the internet and its nascency. There was a big battle about regulating, and frankly, some bad regulation was had. But there are groups that are trying to lead the way to go to Sacramento or Washington, D.C., or go meet with EU Parliament and actually explain what's happening. And explain that some of these cryptocurrency companies that maybe were bad actors don't reflect the rest of us and don't reflect the rest of the industry. So I think if you can, someone mentioned early on storytelling. I'm a lawyer. Maybe I don't have like the sexiest storytelling to do, but I am able to work with my clients and tell people that my clients are being trustworthy and doing the right thing. And if that's how I can contribute, any of you can find a way to explain what you're doing and how it's trustworthy and how it's advancing the ball forward.
That's great. In the next year, do you see your practice changing a lot, or do you see things like, have you hit a point where it's like, hey, we kind of found our niche? Like, what happens for you in your law practice in the next year?
So counter to what people might think a lawyer would say, I'm hoping there's a lot more clarity so that we're not shoehorning everybody into a certain regulatory space. Someone mentioned earlier the debate in the cryptocurrency space of blockchain, utility and security tokens. Fundamentally, we're trying to put square pegs into round holes right now. I'm hoping in the next 6 to 9 months we're not doing that anymore, and that there's better frameworks, whether it's here in the US or other places, so companies can actually thrive and not be laden down by regulations that might not make sense for them. And yes, that might put us out of a little bit of business as lawyers, but I would rather have those innovators be able to do what they're truly trying to do versus trying to apply onerous regulations that might not make sense for their business models. And frankly, most companies are trying to do things to find pain points and solve pain points for the average person. Right now, the regulatory space, it is holding that up just because of the uncertainty.
That's great. And so what's the call to action? People that are tuning in online, again, thank you for your attention. People that are here, what is the call to action? What should they do?
Someone referenced earlier trying to get the average person, your neighbor, your friend, to understand blockchain and sort of the totality of the space. And I think that right now we're sort of stuck in the average person's understanding of blockchain, not being the power of it, but just cryptocurrency. And yes, that is a large driving force in this space. But actually, being translators, I guess that's the best way I could put it, to the average person or whoever's in your circle that might not understand it. And for some of us, that circle's regulators. For some of us, it's customers. But translating this better so people aren't so scared of it. I mean, in this room, we may have a comfortability with it. Those tuning in might have a comfortability with it. There's so many people who think this sounds cool, they're just scared of it. And so how do we help people get over that? And that comes back to trust.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So glad to have you share your vision. It's great to have somebody that actually represents law here, and you've done some great things. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and your firm, how do they do that?
You can find us online at gamallp.com. Drop us a line, and we're happy to chat. I know the space is a little mystifying, so I'd like to demystify it.
Great. Thank you so much.